Here are some of the first things that we can do on a Realme 14T after the initial configuration. So once you are done with this setup, most likely you will receive a notification that will tell you to complete the device setup or something like that. Of course, you can go through these steps again, and most of the time, some of these steps will be pretty much the same as you can experience during the initial configuration. So you can go through them again, or just dismiss the notification in order to not be bothered with it. However, if you skipped some steps during the initial configuration, then you have the, let's call it, a second chance to reconsider. The next thing that I actually did on this phone right after the initial configuration is I went to the settings of the app drawer, because in my case, when I went to the app drawer, the keyboard popped out automatically, and there were some other stuff that I found rather annoying. So we can tap on this setting icon in the top right corner over here and go to app drawer settings in order to, for example, disable suggested apps. And you also have this option, add app search to notification drawer. So if you see a notification about from the system launcher that we can search for apps, then we can of course turn it off. And yeah, so these things, you can pretty much set it up as I have over here right now in the app drawer settings in order to get rid some of the most annoying stuff. Now, besides that, you might prefer to use gestures or 3 buttons for navigation. So we're gonna change that right now. Let's open settings. And over here in the settings, we need to go to system and update. And over here we have system navigation, and we can switch between buttons and the gestures. You can also choose the buttons order, or if you switch to gestures, then of course you will have some options that you can adjust as well. So this is how we can change the system navigation. The next thing that I want to show you is the sign-in page into your Google account. So if you didn't add your Google account yet, or if you have multiple Google accounts or Gmail accounts that you wish to have on your phone, then in order to add them, we need to go to users and accounts over here, and then we can press add account, and we can choose, for example, Google over here. And after a short while, you will see the sign-in page, where you can once again enter your email or phone number and sign into your Google account. Now, another thing is of course security measurements. So in the settings, search for security and privacy. And first thing that we can do is go to device unlock, and you can set up the screen lock. I have it already set up, but of course in your case you can go here and choose the password type that you wish to use. If you plan on using biometrics, then you still need to have the screen lock first, so it is of course recommended to have one. So go to the screen lock settings and choose the password type that you wish to use. And in the meantime, remember that you can change your mind, of course, and use a different password type. So you can tap over here in order to switch, for example, to 4-digit number password, so a 4-digit PIN code. So choose the password type that you wish to set up on your phone, and just enter your password over here. And if you're looking for fingerprint or face unlock, then of course we can find it in the device unlock section as well. Over here we can easily set up the fingerprint and face recognition. Besides that, we also have theft protection, so this is something that we should take a look at as well. For example, we can enable the theft detection lock, offline device lock, and we also have the remote lock, which can be enabled over here. We can also read what it does and what we need to keep in mind. And besides that, we also have Find My Device, which I think it's actually enabled by default, but we can just go over here and make sure that it is enabled. Besides that, we also have Find Your Offline Devices, which we can manage here as well. So definitely worth checking out, and just adjust your settings in order to protect your phone. And that is not all, because there is also anti-theft feature, and that is available on this phone. More precisely, we need to go to more security and privacy, and then over here we have the anti-theft features. And there we go. We can, for example, enable the anti-theft alarm, which can be triggered when you are, for example, charging, when the charging is interrupted, when headphones are removed, or when the SIM card is removed. So we can turn these options on. There is also the verify for power off. So when this option is enabled and someone tries to turn off your phone, they will need to enter the screen lock password. And the same goes with location and network settings. So when this option, this verification is enabled, if someone tries to turn off location or manage network settings, then the screen lock password will be required to be entered in order to make these changes. All right. Once we have that, the next thing that we can do is check the software update. So over here in the settings, we want to go to System and Update. And over here we have the software update. So we want to make sure that we are running the latest version. As you can see, in my case, we have the version up to date. However, in your case, you might need to download and install the newest updates. We can tap on these three dots over here in the top right corner in order to also manage automatic updates, where we can, for example, make sure that only Wi-Fi is used in order to download updates for our phone if you don't want to use mobile data. You can also disable automatic updates if you don't want them, of course. And we can also automatically update overnight. After that, once we have our system up to date and once you have your Google account, we can also go to the Play Store because we can check if we have any app updates, and most likely we do have. So we're gonna tap on our profile in the top right corner, and then we want to go to Manage Apps and Device. And over here we have updates. As you can see, in my case, I have 16 updates pending. I can just press Update All, and these updates will be enrolled, so apps will be updated shortly after that. However, we can also tap on this option in order to see which apps are waiting to be updated, so we can one by one decide which apps should be updated if we don't want to update everything at once. Next is the automatic screen brightness. I know that some people prefer to have it set to automatic, some people prefer to set the brightness to a certain percentage and just keep it that way. So in order to manage that, we need to go to Settings. Then over here, we're gonna go to Display and Brightness. And of course, over here, we have settings related to brightness. We can adjust the screen brightness as well as enable or disable automatic screen brightness. The same goes with the light and dark mode, where we can also create a schedule over here. And if you scroll down, we also have the screen refresh rate, which can also be adjusted over here. We have this option set to auto select by default. However, if you prefer to force 120 Hz, then of course we can set it up like that. The next thing that I personally find quite annoying is the wallpaper carousel, which is a feature that changes the lock screen wallpaper every time you go to the lock screen. So in order to turn it off, or actually turn it on if you actually prefer to have different wallpaper every time you go to the lock screen, in this case we need to go, I believe, to home screen and lock screen, and then over here we have wallpaper carousel. So let me activate just to show you how it looks like. So now with this option being enabled, if I go over here, as you can see, I have a different wallpaper. Let's go again, another wallpaper, and we go another wallpaper. Well, this time actually there was no wallpaper, but yeah, this is how it works. So in order to turn it off, we need to go to the home screen and lock screen settings, go to wallpaper carousel, and we need to disable this option over here. We can also just completely deactivate the wallpaper as well. So now we have just one wallpaper that will be the one that you set by yourself. Now, after that, it is worth checking out the battery settings. So over here we have the, well, not battery mode, but we want to go to battery health. This is one of the most important settings that we have on the phone related to the battery, because we have the smart charging option or charging limit. Both options limit the battery to 80%, however, they work in a slightly different way. More precisely, charging limit just sets the limit to 80%, and that's all. So if you charge your phone, the battery will not exceed 80%. However, if you use smart charging, the phone will learn pretty much, it will create a pattern based on how you use the phone. After some time, of course, it won't work immediately, but after some time. And then, when you charge your phone, it will charge to 80%. But when the phone knows that you are about to unplug the charger, if it knows in advance, then it will let the battery be charged to 100% again, just before you are supposed to unplug the charger. Of course, this is based, like I mentioned, this is based on your habits, on your patterns. So the patterns will be created after some time, and if you are charging your phone pretty much all the time the same way, at the same time, every day, then this option makes more sense. However, if you charge your phone irregularly, So if you charge it from time to time at night, sometimes during the day, etc., then it is actually not recommended to really use it because the phone will not create the pattern. Alright, and besides that we also have power saving settings which can also be checked out. However, I don't think they are as important as the battery health section. However, just to clarify what it does, these options allows you to automate or to create automatic battery saver based on the battery percentage. So if you care about these things, then of course it is worth checking out. However, otherwise not really. Alright, and after that, once we are done with battery settings, the last thing that I want to show you, or that I want to mention, are notifications. More precisely, some notifications that we have, that they appear without our consent, let's say it like that, and they can be quite annoying. So there are some apps that that send you notifications, and they can be quite annoying. So in order to manage that, we're gonna go to the settings again, of course. Let's go to notifications and quick settings, and then over here you should be able to go to app notifications. And in my case, I'm gonna actually press manage all over here, and then we have the list sorted by the most recent apps. And for example, what I found annoying was the phone manager over here, so we can disable notifications from this app, theme store, and I believe there was one more, which I'm not sure if I can find right now. But I think it was the app market, which can be actually disabled by now, but I cannot find it now. Nevertheless, if you actually find the app market, let's actually switch to the alphabetic sort. There is no app market, unfortunately, but yeah, theme store and the phone manager, I think they are the most annoying ones. So you might want to turn them off over here. If there are more apps that you find annoying that they send you notifications, then of course you can turn it off over here. And actually there's one more thing that I just remember, and that is the apps that we have pre-installed. There's lots of bloatware on this phone, unfortunately. Many apps are installed without any reasons, and without any reason. Lots of games as well. So I personally prefer to uninstall them. So what you want to do is go to the app drawer and just check whichever apps you don't really need at all, or those that you will never use. So in my case, I have a couple of games that I definitely want to uninstall because there is no reason for me to keep them over here. So let's keep uninstalling and so on. So just go through the list, because definitely you will find many apps that you don't need at all, and there is no point of having them on your phone. And that should be all. So if you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe. If there is something else that should be mentioned in the video but it wasn't, you can let me know in the comments. And yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching and see ya.